member of the New York City Council, who was also one of the so-called Central Park Five, who were convicted and then exonerated for the rape of a jogger in Central Park in 1989, was pulled over by police this weekend and immediately suggested it was because of his race and criticized the police. Thank goodness for the just-released Bodycam, which tells a very different story. Yusef Salam was pulled over Friday night while on his way to dinner with his wife and 4 children. He was quickly let go, as the video shows, once he pulled the "I am a councilman" card.
Hey, hello, I'm Officer Kentucky from the 2-6 precinct.
I'm Councilmember Salam.
Oh, council member?
This district now.
Oh, okay. Have a good one.
Everything okay?
Yeah, you're working, right? All right, take care, sir.
That's it. That was the entire encounter. Less than a minute. That didn't stop Salam from immediately coming out and criticizing the officer for not clearly stating why he pulled him over, which, as it turns out, was for having overly tinted windows. Quote, "I introduced myself as Councilman Yusef Salam and subsequently asked the officer why I was pulled over. Instead of answering my question, the officer stated, 'We're done here,' and proceeded to walk away. This experience only amplified the importance of transparency for all police investigative stops because the lack of transparency allows racial profiling and unconstitutional stops of all kinds to occur and often go unreported." Well, maybe he didn't tell you what you were being pulled over for because you immediately pulled the "I'm the councilman" card. By the way, the officer doesn't have to say why he pulled him over, and given the tinted windows, it's possible the officer didn't even know the race of the driver. Now, Mayor Adams commended the officer's handling of the incident.
It was a vehicle violation that was observed, the tinted windows. We saw really a picture-perfect example how civilian and police officers responded: professional, courteous, communicative.
In a statement, the New York Police Department confirmed that Salam was also driving a car with out-of-state plates with dark tints beyond legal limits, a violation of New York state law. All of this coming ahead of tomorrow's big vote to override Mayor Adams' veto of what's called the How Many Stops Act, a bill that requires officers to document every single exchange they have with the public, no matter how small, and which Salam supports. Now, Adams had invited Salam, along with several other supporters of the bill, on a ride-along Saturday night to show how this bill would negatively affect officers. But Salam used the traffic stop as an excuse not to go, saying in light of the encounter and coupled with the lack of logistical details provided by Mayor Adams' office in advance, I will no longer be participating in tonight's scheduled ride-along with the mayor and the NYPD. So he criticized the officer who did his job correctly and decided this completely non-controversial encounter was all he needed to avoid going on the ride-along and continue to support another law that would make it even harder to find good cops. Joining me now is Marc Claxton, former NYPD detective and the director of the Black Law Enforcement Alliance. Thanks very much for coming on the program. Appreciate it. All right, so what do you make of how the officer dealt with the situation?
I have to agree with the mayor. The interaction itself between both the police officer and the councilman was courteous. It was professionally handled. There was a good communication. There was clarity. I think if it weren't for the current climate in New York City involving 2 pieces of legislation that are pending, or it appears that are going to be overriding a mayoral veto, this would have gone off like the thousands of other stops that occur every week in New York.
I have to tell you, I host a show where we cover live police departments called On Patrol Live. All the time, we see officers in jurisdictions around the country stopping vehicles for having windows that are so tinted that you can't even see inside. There's a reason for that, is there not? That's a potential danger for law enforcement and the public.
Sure, there are safety reasons for that. And it's usually a vehicle and traffic law violation, depending on the extent of the tint itself. But that also varies from location, from district to district, from state to state, et cetera. But there is a valid reason for stopping those vehicles with tinted windows. And there have been police fatalities directly connected to the lack of visibility inside of vehicles. In New York, Timoshenko's killing is one of those cases that's been cited this week.
I mean, it seems to me that the only potential criticism you can offer of the cop here is that he didn't give the guy a ticket, right? Is that he allowed him to get away with the "I'm a council member" card.
And I don't even think you can criticize them for that, because the police officers have this ability to extend that professional courtesy and use their own judgment in deciding when to issue a summons itself. And people's councilmen and nurses and doctors and other people are extended courtesies much more often than people realize. So it's not even unusual for that to occur. And I think the police officer did a good job in using his judgment, and he was satisfied that the councilman was, in the operation in the course of his official responsibilities. So
we've got the New York City Benevolent Association President Patrick Hender said in a statement, "Facts matter. The video doesn't just expose the lies about this incident. It shows the truth about the outstanding professional work our members do every day. This council member and every other elected official who baselessly smeared our police officers owe them an apology." I do not expect we're going to hear an apology. Do you?
I don't expect we're going to hear an apology. And to be honest with you, I think the rank and file police officers, I know the rank and file police officers in New York do not expect an apology or require one. It is just unnecessary. An apology would indicate that this was some personal interaction, and it wasn't. It was really a professional interaction, normal during the course of business for police officers. So there's no expectation or anticipation of an apology except by the union.
Thank you for watching. Go to NewsNationNow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.